Hi, my name is Brian Venton and welcome to another My Town Media opinion piece that I've called Coup d'etat, but why? What is happening in Townsville is typical of a coup. Contextualised, a coup is described as a knockout blow to the existing administration within a state. In essence, it is a change of the existing order. A successful coup, though, depends on many factors, and here are 7 things to consider. First, you need a cause. The real cause, however, is often shrouded in secrecy behind other more public interest issues. Second, someone has to have an ambition to muscle their way into a position of power, and any astute observer is well aware of that reality in the Townsville context. And third, particularly in a democracy, you have to have the numbers to stacked in your favour to pull off a takeover, and the numbers in this instance have been in place for a good while. Fourth, you need a pathway. What is interesting in Townsville is that initially the numbers were never in favour of supporting the Team Hill group. In fact, when I spoke to councillors, their intentions were to stand as unaligned independents for the people. But something changed, and it was noticeable from the very first meeting of council. There was a clear move to limit the control and influence of the mayor. And I suggest the mantra of transparency was used to manipulate outcomes which, ironically, were the very opposite to what the former Team Hill group stood for. It was a clever move that had the effect of drawing all new councillors into a funnel, and I suggest provided a pathway to facilitate other agenda. Then fifth, a takeover needs to build momentum. And what many people don't realise is that discussions were going on behind the scenes, and some of that, as far as I understand, is still under CCC investigation. One councillor in the early stages told me that it was suggested that certain actions would look better if they came from the new councillors, so it didn't look like Team Hill or the ALP was involved. And it seems somebody may have drove that argument. That should have been an immediate red flag, but it seems to have gone unnoticed. Instead, a mantra of being unified and transparent was used to oppose the mayor virtually at every turn. Now that became the focus instead of examining the validity of underlying motive. In my view, in less than 2 months, enough councillors had bought into the coup to create the momentum to pull it off, probably without fully realising what was involved. Then sixth, for a coup to have effect, there needs to be a well-supported PR campaign that drives the messaging to support the cause. We have seen this occurring on a regular basis over many months, and the latest positive stories appearing in mainstream media are an interesting development. I suggest these stories are designed to make operatives look good and perhaps confuse and possibly even deceive an unsuspecting public. Then seventh, you need what is considered to be a sympathetic administration or bureaucracy to facilitate an outcome. Coups in democracies are not normally violent, but make use of lawful means to change the existing order of things. You may not be aware that many changes have been made to policy internally that effectively have reduced the mayor's powers and give more power to councillors in decision making. The events of the council meeting of the 5th of June is a case in point of how serious it got, but fortunately that action was deemed to be unlawful. Those actions, however, demonstrate that when a coup is on, many people get drawn into the net. But there's a bigger question that I think needs to be addressed here. Why the sudden, desperate attempt to pursue a coup d'etat on the 17th of December? And the answer, I suggest, has something to do with protecting backs. Now let me explain. I recently said to one councillor, it's time some of you came out and started to do some serious forensic investigation on all the projects that the council has a vested interest in. For example, the Lansdowne project, 100% council control. North Queensland Spark, where council has roughly a 33% interest. Then you have the Northern Rail Yards, which is 100% council owned. Then there's the unfinished Horton Pipeline project that I understand faces a massive cost blowout. In my view, a forensic audit needs to take place to answer the following questions. Is the coup intended to manage and sanitise cost blowouts? Is there a money pit that needs to be kept hidden? Is the coup designed to put a hedge of protection around people or entities who perhaps may have been deriving a benefit at the expense of ratepayers? I suggest that these are serious questions that need answering, and they may have something to do with secrets that need to be hidden from ratepayers that constitute the hidden motive behind the coup d'etat. Remember, for a coup to materialise, you need a leader who draws people into the net and who has a perfect ability to predict who will join or the silence of those who are approached but who will not join. There needs to be secrecy behind a cloak of transparency, letting others drive the coup who have bought into the cause. And I suggest that's been happening. You also need a good PR machine to consistently spruik the narrative. And you need an administrative process or a bureaucracy that lends support to the operatives. And of course, you need the cause itself. But invariably, the real cause will be concealed from everyone but a few. And it may surprise us. Who knows and who doesn't know? I suggest this is what is happening here in Townsville. And sadly, in my view, some councillors are oblivious to what's going on. Some, I think, are starting to wake up, whilst others, I suggest, have been sucked in hook, line and sinker with little ability to extricate themselves without losing a face with their electors. What do you think? Thanks for watching, and remember, the things that appear are not always as they seem. Bye.